All right. Well, welcome this morning. So I'm Corbin Pacheco. I'm a container specialist at AWS, and I've been working in the cloud native ecosystem for the last 10 years. So for those of you who have been around long enough, I used to work at a company called Mesosphere, which then became D2IQ. And so anyway, been here for a while. Happy to be here with Chris.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Plank. I'm a platform as a product evangelist, owner for one of the top 4 banks in the UK. We serve about 20 million customers. And the other thing I do is I talk a lot about platform engineering. I'm lucky to be part of the CNCF Platform Engineering Community Group. I'm here today to talk a lot about that, and with Corbin to talk about one of the initiatives that we've been running over the last year or so. So, Paula gave us an intro this morning. She said, the name's changed, everything else. Yep, the name has changed. There's been a big kind of reorg in the CNCF about the tags and the TOC and the TAB and all these different acronyms. We're no longer the Tag App Delivery Platform Working Group that you might have known us before. That's gone. We're now known as the Cloud Native Platform Engineering Community. And as a community, it's all about you guys, right? We're only here to support you. And that's what the initiative is really all about. It's things that we've all worked on together in the community. We're trying to launch something today, launching today. We're trying to launch something, get out there, get feedback from you guys, and see what we can do with this together. So there's 5 of us leading the group. There's Katie, there's Colin, who you might know from previously in the group. There's Humble, Atul, who's from somewhere at Laurent, there he is there, hi pal, and myself. So there's more of us now to try and help lead some of these initiatives, lead the weekly meetings, things like that. QR codes galore this morning, right? So QR code for the website, QR code for the LinkedIn. We're also on Slack. We're really trying to get out there at the moment. A lot of the content that we had before, a lot of the initiatives, things like the white paper, the platform maturity model, all that stuff, we've carried all that forward, and it's all on the website now. So all those resources are all there for you to go and look at, go and read, go and use. And really, we're here this week wanting feedback from you all. We want you to come and talk to us. We'll be around all week. We're going to signpost a lot of things that we're at. We want you to come and talk to us. Come and tell us, what you want initiatives? What information do you want out there? Come and be part of it. Come to the meetings that we've got, right? It's a community thing, so we want you all to get involved and kind of tell us what will help you. So all the artifacts are there. The platform maturity model, as I said, is there. And today, launching today, we're really, the double act here is to talk about an initiative that we've been working on for over a year. There's been a lot of people in the community involved in this. And here, Corbin, take it away.
All right, so I'm going to cover today, as Chris mentioned, the platform maturity assessment. And the reason why is because platform initiatives can fail. It's true. Actually, have you ever worked at a place where you're working on a platform and then all of a sudden there's like this new platform, right? And then we have to get everybody to move from the old platform to the new platform. Anybody seen that? Anybody? Yeah. So this is really about making those platform initiatives sustainable, right? How do we keep our platform initiatives going? And the best way to do that is to know your maturity, know where you are, right? And so we had this artifact that's been around for probably about a couple years now, I think. That helps us understand where we are from a maturity standpoint. And it does that by looking at 5 different aspects you see there: investment, adoption, interfaces, operations, and measurement, and then gives us like these different levels, like provisional, operational, scalable, optimizing. So this is like, if you haven't read this, you need to go check it out, right? This tells you, where are you? But we wanted to kind of simplify that, right? And the way we simplify that is with this assessment. And so Steve Fenton, who's not here today, but has been working with us, helping us bring this project out, came up with this idea about the map and compass, right? It's really about assessing, where am I in the world, right? And where am I going? Now, not every organization's going to that peak. But you're going somewhere, right? And so the best thing to do is figure out where are you and how to get to that next level, right? So we're going to turn this white paper document, which you see on the left, which gives us the characteristics and these example scenarios, into a very simple assessment that you can do in less than 30 minutes, right? Now, what does that mean? Do we not need this thing on the left? We absolutely do. So I recommend read this first, go take the assessment, and then you go back to this document to get the guidance that you need. And so those are some of the questions that we've fielded from people who have asked us, well, where's the guidance, right? The guidance is in that document. It gives you those characteristics and scenarios. At the end of taking the assessment, you get this nice graphical view of where you are, right? And these are results that you can build on. So you can go and figure out, what are the things that I should go do, right? And every organization is going to be a little bit different based on what's happening. Is it going to be, do we need to worry about an investment right now, or do we need to worry about adoption? Like, it's going to be different for you based on what your business priorities are. So again, like, you have to ground this in some context of what's happening in your organization. So these are some of the challenges that we've seen as we talk to different organizations on their platform engineering journey, right? So some of the challenges. Number 5, no dedicated platform team, right? Bunch of folks come together, they build something, they call it a platform. They have a day job that's something else, right? So they don't have a dedicated team. That's an investment challenge, right? Number 4, no focus on developer productivity. A lot of teams are doing things like DevOps, or we talked about this morning, like just shipping infrastructure. That may not be a platform, could be maybe for some people, but having a focus area on developer productivity, that could be investment or interfaces. Platforms with low adoption, right? A lot of times we're engineers, we're building a platform, we don't know how to sell that, right? So you build a platform as a product, you're selling that. You have to sell that to your developers. You have to enable them, right? So a lot of teams aren't familiar with that motion, right, if you've never been in sales. Platform teams build the wrong features, right? If you're not getting a feedback loop in there, knowing what your developers need. And the last one, no proof of value, right? This is a huge challenge for us. How do we measure value of the platform? How do we show that back to the organization? How do we show that to the executive teams that are investing in the platform team, right? You have to do all those things. And so now we're going to hear a little bit from Chris about how he's using this at the bank.
Cool, thank you. So what Corbin didn't say is that this is probably version 2 or version 3 of the tool. Right? When we started this about a year ago, we created really a lot of complicated spreadsheets and scoring and questions that we got from the community. We then tried to kind of whittle that down. The first time we did this, it took us over an hour to go through it. And there's some really intense questions there, right? I mean, you've got a lot of people that are spending their time, practitioners, coming up with questions that they all want to ask other people. And we put a lot of that into the, we aligned the model, we found gaps in the model, there were things that we did that we explored all of that, and we spent about a year on this. And then, Corbin went back to basics. The stuff that he uses in his day-to-day job that was kind of the influence for all this, right? It was Corbin that came up and said, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis. How do we use this? How would this help the community? We kind of took a step back and we looked at that. And it was really simple. It was just a conversation, right? It was really quick. It wasn't having to spend an hour and deeply think about it. It was something that you could just go there, start going 1 to 4, oh, I'm that one, I'm that one, I'm that one. So, at the bank, obviously, I wanted to road test this, it's one of the things I've been Thank you, Deborah. I'm going to run over time. Always do. I wanted to road test this. I wanted to try it out in my own organization, right, before we released it to everyone else. I wanted to see if it worked. I wanted to expose it. So I shared it with all my colleagues in hosting solutions, the platforms teams. So I'm part of cloud platforms. and we're responsible for public and private cloud. So you think all the different product owners, the different teams that are there. One of them is one of my colleagues is here today. I shared this with all my different peers, all the POs, and I asked them to go through it and assess their platform, just to see what their view of their platform was, right? And then I wanted to compare the answers. So I created an internal version of the survey, because we're not allowed to use Google Docs and things like that outside. So I just created an internal copy, same questions, got them to go through it. And I went, oh, how do we go back? And it was really interesting, you know, because I also asked a customer, relatively new to the product that I'm responsible for, to go off and test it as well. And we got some really interesting feedback out of that I'm going to share with you today. And there was a piece in there that I really want to dwell on, which is this whole concept of platform bias, that the people that produce platforms are biased to their platforms, right? So you always think it's better than it actually is. At least that's what the surveys say. Well, I didn't actually see that, and I'll talk about it in a minute. So you've already given a shout out, we'll give him a double shout out, right, Mr. Fenton, because he was the guy that took all the spreadsheet stuff, all the questions, everything else, and he turned it into the single page app. It's now a multi-page app, right, that's there, that we've launched. But him and his company also have done an awful lot of kind of research recently. They just launched this maybe last week, the week before. This is a community, so we share a lot of different things. It's not just CNCF stuff, right? He works for Octopus Deploy. It's a really interesting report. You should check it out. There's an awful lot of stuff in there about the kind of the platform bias that I'm going to talk about. So a couple of things that we saw, and I'll start with the ones that I've highlighted first. The platform PO bias, right? You know, normally what they think is that the customer view is not the same as the producer. Well, in actual fact, I saw one of my peers, a really mature platform that's well used by thousands of microservices in the bank. He actually rated it lower than his customer. So he didn't have that bias because he had a mature platform and he had a good view of that. And so maturity seems to come into it, right? The more mature you are, the more you've been doing this, the longer you've been doing it, the less bias you've got because you've got more interaction with your customer. You're closer to your customer, you're talking with your customer more. I think if you're new, that's probably one of the things you want to do, is you want to talk to them more, right? So I've really stepped up talking to my customers and trying to make sure that I'm positively tackling that bias. And for me, I mean, the best result I got is that when I talked to a customer last week, he scored my platform the same as Kieran's platform. Now, his has been running for a very long time. Mine's hasn't. That means I'm doing something right. That gives me that positive input, right, to take back to the team and say, we're on the right track. The customer loves this. This is the things that we've got to keep going and doing. There are a few other things that we saw. You know, we saw friction caused by org sprawl. So I'm part of a big enterprise organization, lots of divisions, lots of teams, lots of opinions, lots of different ways of doing things. It takes a while to get everyone on that journey, get everyone aligned to that journey, right? So you get friction, you've got to overcome that friction. You've got to double down on the communication and talking with people about that. You know, there's multiple platforms, there's different teams, there's different maturity levels in those teams as well. And they've got different objectives. And you have to take all of that on board and just figure out how you're going to align that, right, with the maturity model. I say the more mature platforms, from a user experience perspective, they actually scored, what am I saying there? The most mature platforms from a user experience perspective scored lower than peer scoring. So that was Kieran, right? The majority of our platforms are highly mature, really successful. You know, we run the bank on these platforms, and we've been doing cloud in this kind of form since probably about 2015. So we've been on this journey for like 10 years, right? Mature stuff that people are using. But my platform has only been running, we started our initiative in 2023. We really kicked off in 2024. So we're very early compared to the rest of these. The scoring results that we got, they've kind of highlighted the areas that we need to do more work in. There's some of the questions that we've not tackled some of those. I think I've talked publicly about those before, right? Maybe some of the, Steve's a big guy about DORA metrics and Monk and all these different things. I've talked that we don't really focus on that at the moment. That's not where we're at in the journey. That's kind of next year and, you know, further on. But it's given us food for thought using this tool of the things we now need to put in our plans for next year and how we schedule those and how we work on them, because you can't do everything. Right? There's so much work to do in this space, and there's always new requirements coming out and new technology coming out from conferences like this that we just need to kind of double down on that. So in terms of the survey, because we were asking you all to take the survey and give us some feedback, right? Did you find the tool useful? Does the assessment make it easy to assess the level of your maturity? Were the questions complicated? Was it the right length? Was it comprehensive? Pretty good scores. Oh, I've got 10 minutes. Excellent. I'll go slower. Really good scores, right? Everyone found the tool useful. So we're here today launching this. All the links will be here. You've seen the QR codes. Go and give it a go. Give us your feedback. Feedback's really important, right? Because this is just the start for us. There's a lot of things we want to do. We want to kind of maybe do a version 2 of the maturity model and do a lot of updates that we've identified. We want people's help with that. We want to try and get that back into the tool. Maybe want to give some descriptive or prescriptive type ideas to people based on their scoring. There's all sorts of things that people are talking about. Let's get up voting those, and let's actually get people contributing to those as well, including to the code, right? Because the code's all in Git. I picked out 3 kind of pieces of feedback that I got. Some of it was about changing the organization approach. So you mentioned the funding model, right? Now, big, large enterprises, it's probably harder to change the funding model than it is in a really small organization, right? Because big enterprises have got a cyclical model, and it happens at a certain time of the year, and there's lots of processes you've got to go through. We're never going to be able to change that. And that's okay. Just because the model says, level 4 is the most mature, we might just stay at level 1. There might be valid business reasons why you stay at level 1, and that's okay. So that was the first feedback that we got, and we kind of said, you know what? Yeah, we're not going to tackle that one. That's something bigger than us. We're just going to move on to the things that we can actually deal with. There was another one that came up about the funding, and it was a good bit of feedback, actually, that said, we're asking questions about the funding model, but the way that we sell the services to the customers, the internal recharge and the cloud tax or whatever you do in your organization, the model doesn't take that into consideration. So how do we bring that in? And then the third one was where do new platform capability needs come from, right? How does the platform team encourage adoption? How do users access the platform's capabilities? You should allow multiple selections there. So right now we're very binary on that. I think one of Kieran's points as well, my colleague in the audience, was that sometimes the answers can be between like 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. How do you choose that? And we're very rigid at the moment in the model. So these are all things that we'll take on board and think about that in V2. So as I said, ton of QR codes, right? This will be recorded as well. The website's there, the LinkedIn's there. Take the assessment, give it a go. Come and give us feedback, right? And the feedback form's there as well. You want to talk about this one?
Oh, so this morning we had our very first platform coffee of the week, I think, right? A little early for me. I'm on the West Coast, so I was there at 4 a.m.
And bright and breezy.
But it's a really awesome time for you to come and talk to us, talk to everybody, talk to the community. It's really fun because you get to pick the topics. Everybody kind of chimes in. Please come join us every day, 7 to 8.
If you've never seen these before, because we do run them online as well, every Wednesday, Thursday alternate. And we run them at KubeCon, very successful. It's kind of lean coffee principle, so you come along, you propose a question, and then we all upvote on that. And then we talk about that for a period of time, and then we'll see if we continue or we move on to the next question. You never know what someone's going to pitch in there or what the answers are going to be, right? So it's really fun, it's really kind of vibrant, and we appreciate that not everyone likes getting up for a 7 a.m. meeting, right? In a hotel that's like 10 minutes walk from here. So we're trying for the first KubeCon, we're trying to say 5 minutes, I'm going to be on time now. We're trying to do lunchtime meetups as well. So after the lunch break in the next room, the one with the round tables, we've got 2 tables at the front. We'll probably have one that talks about just the format we use in the mornings. I'll have another table that Corbin and I will be there, and we'll talk about the assessment tool. So grab your lunch downstairs, come up, let's have a chat, right? Let's just take part as a community. We're going to run these all week as well. Once we get into the main exhibition hall, that's where I'm going with this one, that's good. Once we're in the main exhibition hall tomorrow, we'll find an area where we've got some round tables, and we'll commandeer that area, probably near the project booth, because that's where we've done it informally in the past. And we'll try and do the same thing. We'll try and have some of the people from the community there, so we can just have a conversation. Whatever you want to talk about, right? We'll be there. We'll be there for an hour, as much as we can. There's so much going on this week, right? But we are trying to prioritize our time to talk to you in the community, get that feedback, take it back into the group, because it's your group. Got a signpost. Atul's been running with this one. We've got a fantastic set of lightning talks. We've got a booth on Thursday. Trying to find the time, Atul, where is it? Is it 11 till 2, something like that? And the booth is 10B. You'll find it, right? One of us will be standing there anyway. Come along. This is a really interesting way of people getting involved. If you don't want to come up here, if you're nervous about standing up in front of your peers, but maybe you want to just try it with a couple of people, the lightning talks are a brilliant thing, right? You can go along, you can just listen. You can see how other people do it, take part. So we're trying to encourage all these different things this week. Paula said this morning that you give a shout out to yourself, Matt, and Stacey. None of us would be here in these 2 rooms today if it wasn't for the 3 of them setting this up. And we're really lucky this year because Stacey is a keynote speaker, I think, tomorrow, and then spinning Abby time on Thursday. Abby Bangser, who used to kind of lead our group, she's the keynote speaker talking about platform engineering, right? So front and center of the CNCF, we're now talking about platform engineering, right? It's a growing, vibrant community, and we want you all to be part of it. And give us feedback, as much input, as much involvement as you possibly can.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, we have maybe like 2 minutes left if there's any questions.
Ooh, lots.
All right.
Hi, my name is Joe. I'm a senior manager on the platform team. One of our biggest struggles is the first challenge you listed, which is investment. Is there a magic number for percentage of platform as a platform team as a percentage of the larger engineer organization? Because I feel like I've seen some teams run lean, and that leads to struggles.
So from my view, there is no magic number, right? I think where we see the most challenges is when you don't have measurement, right? So the measurement to me is the fuel to go get that investment. And so when you can go back to your executive stakeholders, presuming you have that, right, and show the value of how your team is, helping the organization ship software faster or whatever you guys do, that is how you get the investment. So it's not based on a ratio or like any kind of calculation. It's more about, do you need this or do you not need this? Do you need more of this or do you not need more of this, right? And so if you can measure it, that's your best chance of getting that investment.
You had to use Steve's phrase, if you can measure it, right? I think I'll point back to that report of Steve Fenton. I think it was his, but there's a report out there that talks about the amount of time developers are spending actually writing code. And it's somewhere less than 40%. It's like 36, 38, whatever it is, right? And the rest of the time they're doing things like looking after infrastructure, having to learn about Kubernetes, AWS, Azure, whatever it is. All these other things that got shifted left onto them, right? So that's part of the investment, is really taking that and saying, look, these guys are only doing a little bit of writing Java code. If we do all this stuff and we get investment on all this stuff, we can really help. And if it's taken them a long time to provision stuff, I've seen things measured in days, weeks, and months, like months predominantly. If we can get that down to an hour and we can actually start working with something really simple that they can consume and they don't have to think about any of that stuff, it's going to sell itself, right?
Okay, we've got time for one more question. Anyone else want to ask a question?
There are a bunch of hands. Don't be shy.
I was surprised that the lowest rating was if the tool was valuable. What are some thoughts on how to raise that? The assessment tool was 4.33 on the is this tool valuable? What are some ideas to make it more valuable?
Well, all the results were in the 4s and 5s, so it was just averaging out, right? That's what it came out at. There were none of any of my peers rated anything that was below a 3 at all, which was fantastic, right? I mean, they really saw value out of it. Early days, it was very quick. It was to get some data to come and talk, right? I mean, because we only just kind of got this together fully over the last few weeks. And with holiday season and stuff, it takes a while. But yeah, it's given us food for thought to take into our PR planning in Q1. There's something that we actually did. I talked about it this morning. I had a session with one of my customers, who's one of Kieran's customers as well. He's developing an application. He'll probably parallel develop it. He runs predominantly on that platform, and he wants to test out my platform. And so we sat with him and we asked him for, kind of his feedback. He's filled this form in, right? We went through the feedback, but we also went through his requirements as well. All the things that he would like to see. And then when we were on the flight coming over here, I'm a joint product owner on this. So my colleague, Rob, he presented it to the rest of our XLT, to all the different product owners, and saying, right guys, this is what the customer needs, this is what you need to do. This is how we all play together in a multiplayer mode, right? It's not like the past where you had a single platform team that did everything. In a big organization like ours, you've got to get all these other teams aligned in a multiplayer mode and get them all contributing at the same time, right? To get that product. So they're all contributing their little, they know what they need to do for their little kind of components, and then the big product, we'll pull all that together. And we'll all be in alignment for Q1. So we're beginning to see it working, right? And tools like this really help because you can visualize their view, the customer view, and you can start talking about it. And I know who says it, it's all about the data, right? If you've got something tangible, if you've got the data, then you can point to that, and it's no longer opinion. That's kind of what we're practicing.
Super. Thanks very much.
Thanks.